Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in life when you realize that not all wounds are visible, not all betrayals announce themselves with grand gestures of deception, and not all pain comes from the obvious sources you expect. Tonight I want to talk to you about something deeper, something more insidious, something that attacks the very core of who you are without you even realizing it is happening. These are the hidden betrayals, the silent assassins of the spirit, the quiet killers of the soul that masquerade as normal behavior, as acceptable treatment, as things you should simply learn to endure. But you should not endure them, you should not accept them, and you most certainly should not pretend they do not exist simply because they do not leave visible scars. Your spirit is not something you can see in the mirror, it is not something you can bandage when it bleeds, it is not something that heals with time and rest alone. Your spirit is the essence of who you are, the light that burns within you, the energy that carries you through each day. And when it is betrayed, when it is attacked, when it is slowly poisoned by those who claim to care about you, the damage runs deeper than any physical wound could ever reach. These hidden betrayals do not happen overnight. They do not announce themselves with dramatic confrontations or obvious cruelty. Instead, they creep in slowly, quietly, persistently, until one day you wake up and realize that the person you used to be, the joy you used to feel, the hope you used to carry, has been systematically stripped away by people who never threw a single punch or spoke a single harsh word. Stay with me until the end, because what I am about to share with you may save your spirit from years of unnecessary suffering, may help you recognize the signs before it is too late, may give you the courage to protect what is most precious about who you are. These 7 hidden betrayals are more common than you think, more dangerous than you realize, and more destructive than any obvious act of cruelty, because they convince you that the problem is you, that your pain is not valid, that your spirit is not worth protecting. The first hidden betrayal is the betrayal of emotional invalidation, and it is perhaps the most cruel because it attacks your right to feel, your right to experience your own emotions, your right to trust your own heart. This is not the person who screams at you or calls you names. This is the person who listens to your pain and then tells you it is not real, who hears your concerns and dismisses them as overreactions, who witnesses your struggle and suggests that you are being too sensitive, too dramatic, too emotional. They do not beat you down with cruelty. They beat you down with indifference, with dismissal, with the quiet insistence that your feelings are not important enough to be taken seriously. You share your heart with them, you open up about something that is hurting you, something that is keeping you awake at night, something that is weighing heavy on your soul, and they respond with a shrug, with a change of subject, with the devastating phrase that has crushed more spirits than any insult ever could: you are overreacting. Those 3 words, you are overreacting, are not just a dismissal of your current emotion, they are a dismissal of your entire emotional reality. They are a declaration that your inner world does not matter, that your feelings are not valid, that your pain is not real enough to deserve attention or care. This betrayal is hidden because it does not look like betrayal. It looks like someone giving you perspective, someone trying to help you see things differently, someone attempting to calm you down or cheer you up. But what it really is, what it actually does, is teach you to doubt your own emotional responses, to question whether what you are feeling is legitimate, to wonder if maybe you are too much, too sensitive, too needy, too emotional for this world. And slowly, quietly, without you even noticing, you begin to silence yourself, you begin to minimize your own pain, you begin to shrink your emotional world down to only what others deem acceptable. And in doing so, you betray your own spirit in ways that no one else ever could. The second hidden betrayal is the betrayal of broken promises, but not the obvious ones, not the grand commitments that are shattered in dramatic fashion. No, these are the small promises, the everyday commitments, the little assurances that seem insignificant but are actually the foundation upon which trust is built. This is the person who says they will call and does not, who promises to be there and is not, who commits to showing up and finds an excuse at the last minute. They will tell you it is not a big deal, that things came up, that you should understand, that life happens, and technically they are right. Life does happen. happen, things do come up, emergencies do occur. But when this becomes a pattern, when their word becomes something you cannot rely on, when their promises become suggestions rather than commitments, something inside you begins to break. It is not just about the missed phone call or the cancelled plan. It is about what those broken promises represent. It is about the message they send, about your importance in their life, about whether you can count on them, about whether they see you as someone worth keeping their word to. Each broken promise is a small betrayal of trust, a tiny crack in the foundation of the relationship, and while each individual incident might seem forgivable, the cumulative effect is devastating. Your spirit begins to expect disappointment, begins to prepare for letdowns, begins to build walls to protect itself from the constant cycle of hope and disappointment that comes with caring about someone whose word means nothing. You stop making plans because you know they will probably be cancelled. You stop sharing exciting news because you know they probably will not show up to celebrate with you. You stop reaching out when you need support because you know they will probably have something more important to do. This is how the betrayal of broken promises kills your spirit, not with one devastating blow, but with 1,000 tiny cuts that slowly drain the life out of your ability to trust, to hope, to believe that people mean what they say. The third hidden betrayal is the betrayal of conditional love, and this one is particularly insidious because it masquerades as love while systematically destroying your sense of self-worth. This is not the person who says they hate you. This is the person who says they love you, but only when you are what they want you to be, only when you behave the way they approve of, only when you make them look good or feel good or benefit them in some way. Their love comes with terms and conditions, with requirements and expectations, with the unspoken understanding that if you do not meet their standards, if you do not perform according to their script, if you do not continue to earn their affection, it will be withdrawn. You feel it in the way they treat you differently when you succeed versus when you struggle, in the way their warmth disappears when you make a mistake, in the way their support evaporates when you need it most. Their love is not a safe harbor. It is a performance review. It is not a source of comfort. It is a source of anxiety because you are constantly aware that you are being evaluated, constantly worried that you might fall short of their expectations, constantly performing to maintain their approval rather than simply being loved for who you are. This betrayal attacks your spirit by teaching you that love is something you must earn rather than something you deserve. That affection is something you must constantly work for rather than something that is freely given. That your worth as a person is tied to your ability to please others rather than your inherent value as a human being. You begin to lose yourself in the performance. You begin to forget who you are beneath all the masks you wear to maintain their conditional love. You begin to believe that the real you, the imperfect you, the struggling you is not worthy of love at all. The fourth hidden betrayal is the betrayal of selective availability. And this one is particularly painful because it involves people who are sometimes wonderful, sometimes present, sometimes exactly what you need them to be, which makes their absence even more confusing and hurtful. These are the people who are there for you when it is convenient for them, when they have nothing better to do, when helping you does not require any real sacrifice on their part, but who disappear when you truly need them, when supporting you would cost them something, when being there for you would require them to prioritize your needs over their own wants. They are the friend who is always available for fun, but never available for your crisis, the family member who shows up for celebrations but not for struggles, the partner who is present when life is easy but absent when life gets hard. You cannot predict when they will be there and when they will not. You cannot count on them when it matters most. You cannot trust that their presence in your life is anything more than circumstantial, dependent on their mood, their schedule, their other priorities. This betrayal hurts your spirit because it teaches you that you are not a priority, that your needs are secondary, that your pain is not important enough to interrupt their comfort, their plans, their other interests. You begin to minimize your own needs, to only reach out when you are sure it will not be an inconvenience, to handle your struggles alone because you know that asking for help when you truly need it will likely result in disappointment. Your spirit learns to expect abandonment, to prepare for solitude, to rely only on yourself because the people who claim to care about you have shown you that their care has limits, boundaries, conditions that you can never quite predict or understand. The fifth hidden betrayal is the betrayal of subtle manipulation. And this one is perhaps the most dangerous because it is so difficult to identify, so hard to call out, so easy to dismiss as coincidence or misunderstanding. This is not the person who tries to control you with threats or demands. This is the person who controls you with guilt, with suggestion, with the careful manipulation of information and emotion to get you to do what they want while making you believe it was your idea, your choice, your decision. They never tell you what to do directly. Instead, they create situations where you feel like you have no choice but to do what they want. They never threaten you openly. Instead, they make you feel guilty for not complying with their unspoken expectations. They never lie to you outright. Instead, they tell you partial truths, selective information, carefully curated versions of reality that lead you to conclusions that serve their purposes rather than your own. You find yourself making decisions that you do not understand, agreeing to things that do not feel right, going along with plans that benefit them while costing you. And when you try to figure out how it happened, when you try to trace back the conversation or the situation, you cannot quite put your finger on where the manipulation occurred. This betrayal attacks your spirit by undermining your confidence in your own judgment, by making you question your ability to make decisions, by convincing you that you are not smart enough, not aware enough, not strong enough to see what is really happening. You begin to doubt your instincts, to second-guess your reactions, to rely on their guidance because they have systematically convinced you that you cannot trust yourself. Your spirit becomes confused, uncertain, dependent on external validation because your internal compass has been deliberately scrambled by someone who benefits from your confusion, your uncertainty, your dependence on them for direction. The sixth hidden betrayal is the betrayal of energy vampirism, and this one drains your spirit not through any single dramatic act, but through the constant, relentless drain of your emotional, mental, and spiritual energy. These are the people who take and take and take without ever giving back, who dump their problems on you without ever asking about yours, who use you as their personal emotional dumping ground, their unpaid therapist, their source of endless support and validation while offering nothing in return. Every conversation with them leaves you feeling exhausted. Every interaction drains you of energy you did not know you had. Every encounter with them requires you to give more of yourself while receiving nothing back. They are always in crisis, always need help, always have a problem that requires your immediate attention, your constant support, your endless patience and understanding. You cannot have a simple conversation with them because every conversation becomes about their needs, their problems, their drama, their pain. This betrayal is hidden because it masquerades as friendship, as caring, as being there for someone who needs you. But what it really is, what it actually does, is slowly drain the life out of you, slowly suck the energy from your spirit, slowly leave you with nothing left for yourself, your own needs, your own dreams, your own life. You find yourself avoiding their calls because you know it will mean another hour of listening to their problems. You find yourself making excuses to not spend time with them because you know it will leave you feeling empty and exhausted. You find yourself resenting them even though you cannot quite articulate why, because they have never done anything obviously wrong. They have never been cruel or mean. They have simply taken and taken and taken until there is nothing left of you to give. The seventh and final hidden betrayal is the betrayal of false intimacy, and this one attacks your spirit by offering you a counterfeit version of connection, a simulation of closeness that feels real but is actually hollow, empty, designed to make you believe you are important to someone while keeping you at a safe distance from their real life, their real feelings, their real self. These are the people who share just enough of themselves to make you feel special, who open up just enough to make you believe you are close, who reveal just enough vulnerability to make you think you matter to them, but who never actually let you into their inner world, never actually trust you with their real struggles, never actually see you as someone worthy of true intimacy. They know how to say the right things, how to create the illusion of depth, how to make you feel like you have a special connection while keeping all the truly important parts of themselves locked away. You share your heart with them, you open up about your deepest fears and dreams and struggles, you offer them your vulnerability and your trust, and they respond with just enough reciprocation to keep you invested, just enough sharing to make you believe it is mutual, just enough openness to make you think you are getting closer when in reality you are standing still, or perhaps even moving further away from any real connection. This betrayal hurts your spirit because it teaches you to accept crumbs when you deserve a feast, to settle for surface-level connection when you are capable of so much more, to believe that this shallow imitation of intimacy is the best you can hope for, the most you deserve, the closest you will ever get to real love and understanding. Your spirit begins to shrink its expectations, to lower its standards, to accept less and less authentic connection because you have been trained to believe that false intimacy is better than no intimacy at all. These 7 hidden betrayals, emotional invalidation, broken promises, conditional love, selective availability, subtle manipulation, energy vampirism, and false intimacy, they do not announce themselves, they do not come with warning labels, they do not present themselves as the spiritual assassins that they are. Instead, they come disguised as normal relationship dynamics, as things you should accept, as problems you should solve, as your fault, your sensitivity, your expectations being too high, your needs being too much. But here is the truth that no one wants to tell you, the truth that might save your spirit if you are willing to hear it, the truth that will set you free if you are brave enough to act on it. You do not have to accept these betrayals, you do not have to tolerate these patterns, you do not have to sacrifice your spirit on the altar of other people's comfort, convenience, or control. Your spirit is not disposable. Your emotional well-being is not optional. Your right to be treated with respect and care and genuine love is not negotiable. Recognizing these hidden betrayals is the first step toward protecting yourself from them. Understanding how they work is the first step toward refusing to accept them. Seeing them for what they truly are is the first step toward healing the damage they have already done to your spirit. Because once you know what to look for, once you understand the patterns, once you recognize the signs, you cannot unsee them. You cannot pretend they are not happening. You cannot convince yourself that this is just how relationships work or how people are or how life is supposed to be. Your spirit deserves better than hidden betrayals. It deserves authentic connection, genuine care, real love that does not come with conditions or manipulations or games. It deserves people who validate your emotions rather than dismissing them, who keep their promises rather than breaking them, who love you unconditionally rather than only when you perform according to their script, who are available when you need them rather than only when it is convenient for them, who respect your autonomy rather than trying to manipulate you, who give as much as they take rather than draining you dry, who offer real intimacy rather than a hollow imitation of connection. You have the power to protect your spirit from these hidden betrayals. You have the right to walk away from people who consistently engage in these patterns. You have the strength to demand better treatment and the wisdom to recognize when you are not getting it. Your spirit is precious, it is irreplaceable, it is the most important thing you possess, and anyone who would betray it, who would attack it, who would try to diminish it, does not deserve access to it. Do not let anyone convince you that these betrayals are normal, that you should accept them, that you are being too sensitive or too demanding or too difficult by refusing to tolerate them. Your spirit knows the difference between authentic love and counterfeit connection, between genuine care and manipulative control, between real friendship and energy vampirism. And it is time you started trusting what your spirit already knows, protecting what your spirit needs, and honoring what your spirit deserves. The people who are meant to be in your life will not engage in these hidden betrayals. They will not attack your spirit. They will not try to diminish your light or drain your energy or manipulate your emotions. The right people will celebrate your spirit, protect your energy, validate your emotions, keep their promises, love you unconditionally, be available when you need them, respect your autonomy, and offer you real intimacy and genuine connection. So protect your spirit, guard it fiercely, defend it bravely, because it is the most precious thing you have. And once you learn to recognize these hidden betrayals for what they are, once you refuse to accept them, once you walk away from anyone who engages in them, you will discover something beautiful, something powerful, something life-changing. You will discover that your spirit, when protected and honored and cherished, has the power to attract the kind of love, the kind of friendship, the kind of relationships that heal rather than hurt, that build rather than drain, that celebrate rather than betray the beautiful, precious, irreplaceable essence of who you are.